Namaste Rachna ji, this is Dr. Jaya Parekh here.
Namaste. Just give me 2 minutes. We are just starting with FB Live. Just give me 2 minutes.
Are you able to see me?
Ma'am, I'm just setting my time on Facebook. I'm just trying. So
No problem.
just give me 2 minutes. I'll just check.
No problem.
Okay. Neeta, can you put everybody on the mute mode? Would request everybody to be on the mute mode.
अभी आ रहा हूँ, मेरा मुंह से एक सेटिंग करवा के आऊँ सही.
Please, Dheeraj sir, please put your phone on mute mode. Oh.
पंखा कहाँ है? नहीं चल रहा है? अरे आवाज नहीं आ रही है।
नेट नहीं चल रहा है भाई।
तो आप लॉग आउट होके वापस लॉग इन हो जी। आपके वहां से काफी आवाज आ रहा है। नाउ एम आई ऑडिबल? जया मैम, यू आर नॉट म्यूटेड, सो जस्ट लेट मी नो, एम आई ऑडिबल?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Ma'am.
okay, perfectly fine. Okay. So I need to start again. Today's topic is developing future leaders in the school. Before I start with today's topic, Anita, just see and ping on the personal window the ones who have not muted, or we have to remove them. I am sorry, but again and again we have to say. Shiv Mishra sir, please mute yourself. Dheeraj sir, please mute yourself. There is a lot of noise coming at the background. Please, we would request you to mute yourself. Now, before I start with today's topic, I would like to brief you all about Fun to Learn. Fun to Learn is an ISO certified organization since past 15 years. It is dedicated to delivering quality learning through fun way method to children. Fun to Learn, a foremost destination for family-friendly activity across Maharashtra, gradually stretching its wing pan-India. The range of activities taught here includes handwriting improvement, speed writing, calligraphy, abacus, Vedic maths, to name the few. In today's digital age, while improving one's life in many ways, is resulting in people not paying attention to the importance of handwriting studies. It has shown that, but it is shown that good handwriting and mathematical skill programs fosters to overall confidence and personality of an individual. Your handwriting is brain writing. What you think when you pen it down, it comes down. So this was just a brief profile about Fun to Learn. Now today's topic, as I said, is developing future leaders in the school. Are the leaders born or made? Leaders are never born. They are not born. Behavioral theories have showed that people can become leaders through the process of teaching and observation. Leadership is a set of skills that can be learned by training, perception, practice, and experience over the time. Leadership learning is lifetime activity. Leadership is about inspiring people to do things they never thought they could ever do. So to discuss on the topic today, we have with us Dr. Jaya Parekh. Now let me just brief about Dr. Parekh. Dr. Jaya Parekh is a PhD in chemistry, B.Ed, MA in education management, 19 years in the field of education, and 9 years as school leader. Currently, Dr. Parekh is serving as a principal of Ram Ratna International School, Mumbai, since 2012, which is a Cambridge school. Her belief that a school should be a happy place for students and all the stakeholders her belief that the school should be a happy place for students and all the stakeholders for effective learning to take place. Her school is deeply involved in community service and is acknowledged at various prestigious platforms for its innovative happy practices. It is rated at Ram Ratna International School is rated as #1 school in Maharashtra under the International Parameter for Individual Attention to Students survey conducted by Education Today. Now, Dr. Jaya Parekh has been recognized in a field of expertise. She has received many awards for her passionate work as a grooming leader. Her other professional engagements are member of Executive Committee of MISA, that is member of International Schools Association, member of Core Committee of Education Today, Society Tomorrow, that is ETST, territory head of APER, that is Association of Primary Education and Research. Welcome on board, Dr. Jaya Parekh. And ma'am, I am happy to inform you that Fun to Learn is one of the first 5 corporate members of APER. And we were there present for their corporate installation meet, first installation meet. So I was there for Swati Popat ma'am's first corporate meet. So maybe that day we didn't know each other. So I would like to say we are happy to be associated with APER. And when I read your profile that you're a territory head, it's an honor, ma'am, to have you here. It was just a brief profile. Now we would like to hear a little more about you. Over to you, Jaya.
So, namaste. Good evening to Ms. Rachna ji, the entire team of Fun to Learn, and all my dear friends that I can see. I have met many of you virtually and look forward to lockdown getting over and trying to meet you.
Ma'am, 1 second, ma'am. Jaya ma'am, you. Jaya ma'am, 1 second. Jaya ma'am, you are unmuted. 1 second.
Yes.
Yeah, you got unmuted. Yes. Continue, Jaya ma'am. Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. You are. Yes, ma'am. You are.
Okay. So it's a pleasure to be here, and Rachna ji, good to know that you have been associated with APER, and thank you also for bestowing the honor of Nari to Narayani Samman on me on Women's Day. I remember that very vividly, and thank you for recognizing our school's efforts and my efforts. So yes, I would like to know from you, what do you want me to speak on? Are you ready with some questions?
Yes, ma'am. See, today's topic is developing future leaders in the school.
Right.
So what we wanted was that we will be putting you the questions so that if you answer, so it will be like an interactive session, and the viewers they can also put the questions in the chat box, which I will be asking you. Okay.
Sure.
So to start with, ma'am, I would request the viewers to mute themselves. I would request the viewers to mute themselves. Ma'am, I think I will have to do it. Okay. Ma'am, just my first question to you is, what do you consider as the most essential attributes of an effective leader?
Okay. So the most essential attributes of an effective leader, I would like to speak based on my experiences of leadership, which is close to a decade, and also what I have learned from different leaders whom I admire and from whom I have learned. So before I move forward, I once again request all the viewers to please check the mics. There is a lot of disturbance, so
Yes, ma'am.
kindly mute yourselves.
Dheeraj sir, Fayyad sir, Marapan, please mute yourself, because if I mute, then there is a lot of problem unmuting. So would request Dheeraj sir, if you want to attend the session, you have to mute yourself, please. It's a humble request from my side. Yes, ma'am. Now I think, Dheeraj sir, please mute yourself.
Okay,
Yes,
thank you. Thank you, everyone. So it's a wonderful question to ponder upon. And based on my experience, what I would like to share is a leader has to be a person of integrity. The person must display such kind of an attitude, such kind of body language and words and thoughts which show the integrity of character, that is honesty, truthfulness. The person has to be dependable. The people should be able to rely on the person. The leader has to be non-judgmental, and as you said, the leader should be able to inspire people to do what they never imagined doing themselves. So this is only possible when you push their limits. You make the people push their own limits, and that will not happen if you are judgmental. So a leader has to be non-judgmental, but at the same time, the leader has to provide the required training, the required motivation, and the support. The leader has to be bold, especially in today's time. If we see, these are such trying times, and we can very easily make out difference between leaders and others who are in the process or who have not started on the process of leadership or on the path of leadership. You can see those who have braced themselves for the challenge, who have been innovative, who have been creative, who have been communicative, who have been having a high social and emotional quotient, who have a high adversity quotient, who have worked with their team, who have made people feel as if they are safe and they are all together, and still in these times have been very optimistic and thought of ways to remain connected, thought of ways to make things look positive, to look at the brighter side, and also at the same time to see how we can contribute to making things positive. So it's all about being fearless, being bold, also getting over your fear of failure, the way you manage change. So change management is equally important for a leader. The leader should be able to make bold decisions, so decision making. Then it is also about critical thinking, because decisions, one can just be brave and just make decisions, but thinking critically and deciding based on the pros and the cons, I think it's very, very important to be a critical thinker. And another thing is making people feel as if they have achieved. So it's possible when you have a vision and you put your goal so well before people and you make their goal aligned with your goal. This is when the team together moves forward in achieving that goal. It should no longer look like your goal. And you should be able to look at the big picture. One should have a vision. The leader should not sweat on small issues, should not judge people on small mistakes here or there, needs to have a bigger heart, needs to be compassionate, needs to be empathetic, has to be hard at times, but with pure intentions of pushing people to do their best. So I think I can just go on and on when it comes to attributes of leadership, but I feel these are the most important ones. The person has to be also skilled, knowledgeable, has to be a learner, has to never give up, has to be a positive person, and most important is to be authentic. people who work with you, if you are a leader, should not feel that you are fake. You should be able to express yourself looking authentic, showing that your actions and words are in sync with what you expect, what vision you see, and what you put before them. So I think authenticity, being self-aware, like knowing that I may not know everything, knowing that every team member contributes to the strength, and knowing that we together will be able to achieve. I think that's the strength of a leader, a good quality of a leader, to be self-aware and be ready to learn. Life will never stop expecting you to learn new things. Like Corona times have also taught us to think of new things out of box, and I'm sure good leaders have already started that.
Yes,
And I'm
ma'am.
fortunate to be in touch with many such good leaders.
Correct, ma'am. And this is such a interesting topic which you have chosen, which we have chosen for this, and you have explained it so beautifully in simple words. And like everybody, I think is I can see the chat box also. Everybody is writing beautifully explained. So
Thank
over
you.
to you, ma'am. My next question to you will be: why do you think that these leadership skills are important?
Why the leadership skills are important? I think whenever there is a group of people, it becomes very important as a society to have a vision, to have a goal, to have some rules and regulations, to work as a functioning society. So there have to be rules and regulations and laws. And for that, you need somebody to have the vision, to be able to draft those rules and laws, and to be able to guide and motivate people to follow and abide by them. So leadership is very important when it comes to group of people. And as we are social animals, we are not going to be isolated. Even if we think of a smaller group like a family, there has to be a leader, and maybe there can be various leaders. Maybe one family member can lead social functions better, another person can lead something else better. So when it comes to family, a small group, also when it comes to your own life, I feel every individual is leading herself, and it is very important to have these leadership skills to be able to lead yourself, because before you be a leader for others, you have to lead yourself. If you can't govern yourself, you cannot even imagine governing others or guiding others.
Correct,
So I feel
ma'am.
it's very important because there can be two extremes. One is a completely chaotic society, which borders onto totalitarianism, where complete chaos. There is no rule, no law. People just do what they feel like. So there will be no goal as a society. Society would never be able to grow and evolve with time, which we must do as human beings. The other extreme can also be something where there is a dictatorship, a leader who just feels that his word is the final word. Just think of the Nazis, think of Hitler. In so many ways, the qualities of leader can be very well seen in Hitler, but it's all about the critical thinking of seeing whether your goal is for the common good or not. So leadership is not just about how many people you can command and how many people will do what you ask them to do. It's about being able to inspire people to do what is right and what is needed. So I think it's very important as a society, as a whole, as an individual also, to have these qualities, to lead our life in an effective manner, to lead a purposeful life. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Such, like you have explained it again, I must say, like this is the need of the hour, like the leadership quality. If one doesn't possess this quality, he cannot be a leader or he cannot guide anybody. So that was
I would
excellent
just
point.
Right. I would just like to say here, a leadership position is not a title. I would not be naming, but I'm sure we have very intelligent audience here.
Yes.
The best of the powers in the world are feeling that the leadership is just for the namesake. The leadership in the most powerful of the countries is feeling lost. People are losing faith and trust. So I think in such situations, in crisis, only a good leader emerges. A good leader takes timely decisions. A good leader takes sound decisions. A good leader sees what works for most of the people, because it's not about satisfying everybody, but it is always about doing the right thing. That's the
Correct.
difference between a boss and a leader, or a manager and a leader.
Correct.
You just don't have to manage the task. You have to manage the right task in the right way.
Uh, Ma'am, to add on this, I would like to tell you we have 98 visitors here, and as I told you, we are going live also on Facebook. And the 98 to 99 people who have joined us on Facebook, 100% are edu leaders from Pan India. And being the educators, they are into management level or principal level, most of them. Say, like I am getting the feedback that you are explaining it so beautifully because this is the need of the hour.
We have
Hats
got
off.
very kind audience. Thank you. I hope
Ma'am,
at the end there will be suggestions
yes.
for me how I can become a better leader myself.
Okay, ma'am. So now my next question to you is, to what extent can these qualities be developed in the school going children? Because it has to
Papa makapotain nggak barang?
Okay. So, Rachna ji, what I gathered is that you're asking me how we can develop, or why is it important to develop the skills in the children? Would you please repeat? I can't hear you. Rachna ji, I can't hear you. So let's say if what she meant to ask is it possible?
To what, am I audible, ma'am, now?
Yeah.
To what extent can these qualities be developed in the school going children?
Okay. So I feel the formative years, the foundation is laid down right from the primary years for all the virtues and qualities that you want, and leadership is one of those skills. So just like other skills are developed in school, leadership qualities can also be developed in school going children. And I think it's the best place to develop it because when you talk of leaders, you think of discipline, you think of systems, you think of plans, you think of goals and vision, you think of people and tasks. And this is what a child is exposed to when the child is in school. A child has to follow some rules, regulation, child has to be disciplined, the child has to complete some curriculum, child has some goals to achieve. The child is also exposed to a society. The classroom and the school is a small world in itself for the child. There the child develops the emotional quotient, the social quotient. The child also learns critical thinking, decision making. It all depends on what kind of environment the school is providing. If the school makes the child just cram the topics, learn something and put it on paper, I think we would be doing a great disservice and we would never be able to build leaders. But if the school and the teachers are able to make children think critically, also allow them to fail and learn from their mistakes and discuss with them where have they gone wrong, how can they go right. The way the children are with their friends, accepting everybody, realizing everyone has strengths and weaknesses, still accepting everyone, respecting everyone, being empathetic, and being able to work in a team. So the school provides the best possible environment to develop leadership skills. And from time to time, the children may be given some responsibilities which helps them develop their own inner potential as a leader. So I feel, yes, to a great extent, schools can bring out these skills in children.
Ma'am, I would like to add on to this. These days, as the international schools, earlier, if we used to see during the annual day, only a selected set of students they used to participate. Right from first standard till the 10th standard, only selected students. But now the international school concept, if you can say, I was among the first 50 parents of the first Vibgyor High chain of schools. So that was like 15 years back. It was one of the most emerging international schools. So there I saw each and every child was given a chance to participate. And now this concept is followed in almost all the schools. See, right from the beginning, when we give the child every chance, then only we can know whether this child possesses a leadership quality or not. So I totally agree to. And ma'am, we have a educator from Meerut who has put up a question: how many styles of leadership, and which style would be suitable for a school leader?
Okay, so styles of leadership, I think, would be a topic for a complete workshop.
Correct, ma'am.
So rather than going into details of that, I would like to share what I believe in. I believe that there can be different styles of leaderships applicable with different people and also
Correct.
in different situations. So there can be certain situations where you cannot be flexible at all, even if the people at that moment are not understanding your vision, but you will have to take some decisions. So at that moment, you can be an authoritarian leader who takes decisions to a great extent by himself. But there can be other situations where you need everybody's views and you have to take them into confidence and you have time to do that. In that case, you can become a participative or a more democratic leader. And I would like to believe that I am a democratic leader in most of the situations,
Oh,
and
that's
I'm
great.
trying further to improve myself in this area. And over the years, we realize, see, we analyze our own leadership style over the years, and your experiences teach. And I feel I have moved from being a more authoritarian to a more democratic leader. So I would suggest you have to identify what leadership suits you, because I said you have to be authentic. You cannot behave against your inner nature. So please
You have
see
to
to
be
it, realize, be
original.
self-aware
Yes.
of your nature and find a leadership style suitable to yourself and also suited to situations and suited to individual people in your team. You may not talk the same language with every single member of your team.
Correct.
So knowing
So,
yourself and knowing every person in your team is important.
so people, they are putting it in the chat box that again that you have very beautifully explained this question of Dheeraj sir. We have principal of Punjab Public School, Sanju ma'am. She had said absolutely correct, ma'am. You have explained it very beautifully, and that
Very
is what
kind of
different
her.
people,
रचना जी, if there are some
different
questions
people,
for me to
different.
answer, you can ask that, because I think आप बहुत ज्यादा तारीफ कर रहे हो. ये एक लीडर के लिए बहुत मुश्किल होता है पचाना, बहुत मुश्किल से तारीफ मिलती है, इतनी सारी मुझसे नहीं हो पाएगी.
मैम बट आई नो इस तारीफ के काबिल होने के लिए कितने पापड़ बेलने पड़ते हैं. आई ऑल्सो स्टार्टेड
Don't
फ्रॉम
say that.
स्क्रैच.
Ma'am. Now,
I also started from scratch one, and you will not believe 15 years back, people, they did not believe in my concept that
Right.
I can improve handwriting in just 10 hours. And still, I believed in myself. The most important thing was I believed in myself. I did not give up. And that is how
Right.
you can say. So we have to believe. The most important thing for being a good leader is you need to believe in yourself and you need to work on it.
Excellent. So having a vision, believing in your vision, and being perseverant, not giving up.
Correct.
So,
you know,
great.
when I registered Fun to Learn for this handwriting concept, I used to hear from people, pagal hai. Like literally, they used to handwriting जैसा thing के लिए she's getting registered, she's getting ISO certified. But I knew what I was doing. I believed in my mission, I believed in my vision, and so far we have trained 1,25,000 students all across India. So
That's wonderful. That's wonderful,
Yeah.
Rachna ji. Congratulations to you. And I would just like to say, you had chosen a very right path and you have been successful, and we are proud of that. At the same time, I would like to tell you, one might choose a passion which may not end with the worldly success, but still do it for
correct.
your own satisfaction. Do it,
Ma'am-
try it. You might fail. Doesn't matter, but you will learn out of it.
Yeah, you might fail, but there will like there is a thing now that you have at least tried. You have not.
Yes.
Yes. So trying
Won't
is
regret.
correct. Like my dad wanted me to become a CA. I did that, but kids were my passion, so a totally change of field, you can say. So, ma'am, my next question to you comes is, what do you do in your school to instill and foster leadership quality? As you had already mentioned few points, if you can highlight little more on it.
Okay, so what do we do in our school? So let me just tell you here now, for this question, I'm representing Ramratna International School. It's a beautiful, wonderful school located in Uttan village of Bhayandar West in Mumbai. It's a Cambridge school. I have a wonderful team of my teachers, parents, students, and an excellent management who has a great vision of delivering the right kind of education, which gives out assets to this society and to the world at large. So when we talk of leadership and how we are developing in our school, then we are talking about how are we bringing those values in children that we started with. The very initial questions were about what are those qualities, and we spoke about those qualities. So a leader, like we said, a leader should be able to work in teams. So in school, we provide them ample opportunities where the children can be together, should be able to work with people of different thoughts and views, different strengths and weaknesses. So it can be some group projects, it can be working in teams for sports day, it can be inter-house competitions, it can be working for a quiz as a group, it can be for preparing projects and exhibiting them on exhibitions before parents or before people. It also, these are certain basic things which I believe most of the schools do. I would also like to tell about certain innovative practices that we have tried. So we have a buddy pair system in the school. Each primary child has a senior student as a buddy. They
Oh, lovely.
yes, they meet on a regular basis. They are even free to talk to each other whenever they have free time, even after school hours. What I hear from children is that they remain connected on phone calls, etc. And what develops here is a sense of responsibility in the elder children and a sense of belonging in the younger one as well. And there is a sense of empathy for each other. And if you see as the bigger picture, the whole school has a feeling of camaraderie amongst the children. So buddy pair system is one such system. Then we have a concept called school code. Now, when any child feels that he is or she is being teased or harassed or disturbed by some other children, which he or she is not comfortable with, then they may write a letter and put it in a box called school code box. A school code is a concept where some of the students, senior students who are chosen based on their qualities, who are the members of school code, they go through these letters. They appoint 2 members from the school code. These are the students only. They appoint 2 student members, one who would be acting as the advocate for the child who has made a complaint, and one becomes the advocate for that child against whom the complaint has been received. Then they do a series of interrogations and meetings. They interact, do a lot of communication, and surprisingly, what we have noticed over these last 4 or 5 years of school code concept functioning in the school is that nearly in every case, the child who is at fault accepts, and there is no kind of threat or pressure on the child. So what we have seen is that the students are able to communicate better. The students who are communicating with them, the senior members, they learn to become just and fair, because it's very important for a leader to be non-partial, to be impartial, to be just and fair with everybody. They feel a responsibility because they know that they will come to a conclusion which might affect this child in some way. So this develops their decision-making skills. They think critically after hearing the points of views of both the children involved. So I can just go on how this practice helps so many qualities to be built in children. So school code is a wonderful concept. This is what we have implemented, and it ends with a positive punishment. Let's say if a child is found to be unable to control his anger. Let's say a child said that, yes, I did this because I was not able to control my anger. Then the child was asked to prepare a presentation on anger management and present it in the school assembly. So the students, other students did not realize that it's a punishment, because it's a regular thing in our school for students to give presentations. That is another avenue for leadership development. So that's one. Then we have student council at 2 levels. Usually schools have it, but we have at the primary level as well as the secondary level. The students appear in a series of steps, to gain those positions, right from campaigning to delivering speeches, appearing in interviews, etc. So this also helps them develop leadership skills. So let's say I have 46 positions total in student council, and for that around 200, close to 200 students have been interviewed every year. So if they have gone through those steps, somewhere they have been able to explore that potential. Then activities like Model United Nations conferences. So we organize our own Model United Nations conference. RRIS has organized 4 chapters of MUN. And in Model United Nations, the students act as world leaders. They become delegates of different countries. They discuss global issues given to their committees. So they research a lot. It's very important for a leader to be able to research, to have the research aptitude. So they research, they communicate, they debate. These are again very important qualities required for a leader. Then they also lobby. They understand how to negotiate with others, how to convince others of our viewpoints, how to bring them into our camp. So, and then finally, after listening to all the delegates, how the whole committee has to come to a conclusion. So it's again about decision making, and decision making which is for the greater cause. So again, the moral compass always has to be there. So I feel these kind of activities are again important. Then a leader will be able to come out if the leader is able to communicate properly. So we have open avenues for communication with everyone. My day also begins with breakfast with children, 3 to 4 students every day. So breakfast with principal is one such avenue. The students can also write a letter to me directly. There is a box called I Think I Feel box. Not just children, but the teachers, parents, anybody can just drop the letters there. And I make a point that I go through all the letters and speak to the students or whoever has posted the letter. Then, like you said, the students participate. Each and every student participates in events like annual day, sports day. Another important thing is making children responsible, giving them responsibilities. Like whenever you have an event, usually the schools prepare a duty list and the staff gets duties for this, that, serving the guests, etc. We see to it that for every activity, for every duty, there are some students involved. So event management, this is how they learn. They start learning from the stage of management, managing events, managing people, managing tasks. And last but not the least, I would like to say that involving children in community work brings out the natural trait of human beings, that is compassion and empathy. And every week, we have our students, 3 to 4 students, going to a neighboring tribal village, which we have adopted, called Jamjharpada. This program is called Knowledge on Wheels. So there's a mobile van, it's a mobile library laboratory. Our students go, they interact with those children, they make them read and learn, they demonstrate science experiments, they hold dialogues and conversations. So if you see, overtly, it can just be about children from some international school coming to these underprivileged children, showing them books, trying to make them read. But I feel no, it has much deeper impact. It makes our students more humble. It makes them grateful. It makes them realize their responsibilities. It makes them realize that they are the ones who are going to make a change. And they would not just feel entitled and just make use of whatever is given to them, but understand who needs it and share it with them. So I feel these are the qualities of leaders which you can instill through community work. You can instill through engaging them in nature and nature related activities. I can just go on, so it's better I stop it here. But I think these are the ways that you can develop leaders in your school.
Jaya ma'am, we also have Kusum Kanwar ma'am with us, and she has mentioned in the chat that your school is beautiful.
No doubt.
Yes, and I missed coming to your schools. I was just preparing myself and the lockdown started. So as soon as the lockdown gets over, I would like to come and visit your school. And
You're most
Mr.
welcome.
Sunil, yes ma'am. Mr. Sunil, you have put down the query about the handwriting part. So let us now deviate the topic from here, because as we are talking about developing future leaders, we will stick to that. Mr. Sunil, I have put down my number on the chat box, and you can connect me later for the handwriting program. Today we have to just talk about the leadership program. Okay, so I think Mr. Sunil, you can connect with me. Now, ma'am, as you have already put down about the leadership qualities of a student and how you all are doing it. Okay, very beautifully
Right.
put up in a very simple words. Now, what is the teacher's role in developing leadership skills? Now, majority part you have been discussing, when you discussed about the students, you have discussed about the teachers also. But if you can just highlight little more on it.
I think this is the most important question, because
Yes, ma'am.
anything that you are trying to do in school, it is happening only through teachers. It's only
Correct.
teachers who do whatever the school does. It's only the teachers. Ultimately, it's only the teacher. I'm repeating it because I truly believe in it, and I want every teacher to believe in it. So a teacher is a role model herself. And she does not need to be a principal or a coordinator or on a leadership position to show that she's a leader herself. Because when she's in the classroom, she is a leader. So she has to display that she is courageous, she is innovative, she respects everybody, she is impartial, she is fair to all, and she can think out of the box. She would not judge students, and she is compassionate. She would love everyone, irrespective of how they behave at times, because it is said that the child who needs your love the most would ask for it in the most unexpected ways, in the most unlovable kind of ways. So a teacher has to be sensitive to that. So I feel a teacher's her own personality, how she role models herself, it all starts from there. And then when it comes to her actions, so teacher has to see that she is never discriminating, she is fair with all, she is very sensitive and intelligent in allotting tasks in groups. She has to see that there is a balance of all kinds of students so that everybody feels supported and everybody realizes how each child can contribute to the final result. Because you may have one group where they are only good at thinking individually but not putting it together. So that group, even if it is of intelligent students, maybe they would just work individually, but they would not be able to bring out the social quotient which is required. So a teacher has to really put an effort there to make students work together. Also, she has to allow children to speak more, because a good leader is the one who can express and communicate. And if in the school the child doesn't get this opportunity, I think it hurts very badly even in the future. It affects, it impacts the future leaders. So teachers have to create such opportunities that children get more to speak and to share without any fear, without fear of judgment or being ridiculed by the teacher or by the peers. So the kind of environment a teacher manages, a teacher cannot even neglect or ignore a snickering, a little snicker from some child. It can be detrimental to a child's self-esteem. So a teacher has to be very conscious of these things. And when you create such a positive environment, every child feels free, and a child who's free and has a high self-esteem can be a leader in the future. The leadership you can maybe see in the future, but it starts developing from there, right from there. So I would just request that every teacher should realize this great responsibility and the great honor that we are shaping the future leaders. We are building the nation, we are building this world, and it starts from my classroom. And if we can do that, a teacher has to be, another thing maybe directly, indirectly related to it, but a teacher has to show a high degree of integrity. A teacher should not joke about a student or a parent, or talk of a student which ridicules the child or which goes against the child's self-esteem and respect. So somewhere that integrity of character is very important. There should be no gossip in the staff room amongst the teachers about students, which shows their insensitivity towards children. I think it goes a long way in shaping our own personality as teachers.
Correct, ma'am. So I think you have covered almost all the points. Just two more questions. Leadership is not stagnant. It is dynamic and changes with the time. Like these, if you can see the current scenario, the pandemic without any information, like so how can you correlate that leadership is dynamic, and the leaders, the good leaders, have to adapt themselves immediately as per the current scenario. So who can guide us better than you?
So I feel leadership is tested in such times. A true leader is tested only in these times, and so is the bad one also. One of the most important traits of a leader would be change management, because when it is about a new situation, you have to be quick in analyzing the situation. First, to be able to accept, so acceptability. Second is to be able to adapt, adaptability. You should be able to adapt. And how would you adapt? You will have to plan. You cannot just imagine that, okay, I'm ready to adapt, and then you will be able to do it. No, it's not possible. So you should be able to plan. You should be able to network. You should see who all are sailing in the same boat. Listen to views of people. Be open to ideas. Listen to your own team. See what works for everybody. Sometimes you might even have to do that, because ultimately it's all on your shoulders. So you be prepared also to even bear the brick bats if required, but that's how you will learn. But in such times, you have to be bold. And why we call it dynamic is because the world is changing. It's moving so fast. If we are stuck, then we won't be able to provide leadership to the future. The students are much faster than us. So even if you forget the world, just remember the children in your classrooms. They are moving at a faster pace. So how is it stagnant? You have to remain dynamic to catch up with them. And the time it takes for them is much lesser than the time it would take for us to be at their level, the way they are moving forward in so many new ways, which we were not used to. So I think for a leader, it's very important to keep learning. Be aware that you cannot avoid change. Change is the only constant in the world. Third, accept as soon as you can without wasting time. I know of leaders who were for last 2, 3, 4 months were just debating whether we should go for all-night classes, should we remain connected to students and parents, should we keep communications on, and probably they would be regretting it now that they just completely showed silence from their end. So this could be my opinion. But then it's important to understand that in a situation, how you are going to take decisions and how you are going to follow through with your entire team. So it's really important to remain dynamic in your mind also. Accept, adapt, move, take decisions, take everybody together. Ultimately, it's about building that community. Even if you go wrong, your community should know that your intentions were right. And that is when you will succeed.
So, ma'am, the adaptability is the most important thing. If we don't adapt ourselves to the current situation, be it any situation, we are not leaders and we won't be able to survive.
I think it will be a great disservice, because if you are doing that, you're not only impacting yourself, it's impacting a larger group. It's your team that is getting affected. So it's a huge responsibility. And I think it's important to be aware of the changes happening, subtle changes also happening, and moving forward with them. And for that, you need clear communication, regular communication. Your team should know what you are doing and why you are doing it. So, having very regular communications, even knowing who needs a push, personal touch, a personal attention, a personal word here or there, a gesture, a little gesture here or there. So that's what keeps everybody together in organizing, in managing change. So communicating properly also becomes very important, providing them training and support, and keeping them comfortable in approaching you if they are not able to deal with that change. Also developing, most important thing is, a leader is the one in whose absence people can work, and the people feel that it is they who are working. That's the biggest achievement of a leader. So you have to build your team in such a way that every person becomes a leader, takes initiative, knows that this is my goal, not my school's goal, and it's not my principal's goal. It is my goal, and I'm going to achieve it. So I think then the whole team works with the same mindset, and no change can be that intimidating to such a team.
Very true, ma'am. Very true, ma'am. So now I would just like to add on I would just like to add on, since most of us are educators here. So any advice you would like to give for schools, for the educators or the viewers who are attending this, the final message or the advice you would like to give to all?
Okay. So first of all, I don't think I am at a position that I can advise schools and educators.
With your experience, experience and expertise.
Sure. I would still share my 2 bit. It's up to you. If it suits you, please take it. Otherwise, just forgive me. So what I feel is that schools need to become more conscious of their role in building human beings, not just scholars with the best of the marks in examinations. They should be conscious of developing empathetic, compassionate, responsible human beings. And for that, the schools will have to somewhere shift the focus. For example, rather than highlighting that these are the toppers of my school and this is 99 out of 100 and this is 100%, can we take pride in saying that we have been able to produce such individuals in our school who would show the path to the world and who would not give up, who would try their best to impact the world in a very positive way. So another thing what we can do to allow the leader and the children to emerge out is, please don't make things very simple for them. I would say this is not only the advice for schools and teachers, but also for parents. Don't be snow plowing parents or snow plowing teachers. This term means that the path of the child is cleared of all the snow to make it easier for the child to walk through it without any problems. So please don't do that. Let child cross the hurdles by herself and learn how important it is to do it by herself, because it gives a sense of achievement. It also gives a lot of learnings from the mistakes and from the failures. So please celebrate failures. Please do not judge them just based on their victories. Have more discussions on how failures impact. Also, please share your failure stories. So we have a day called Express Saturday where people can express their thoughts and their experiences. And I'm planning to start with, I would be the first one, but I would request my staff also to come ahead on Express Saturdays in the assemblies when we have the entire school sitting there and share those incidents in life which have taught them, which were quite frightening in the beginning, but they could make through it, to show where they have failed, not just to present a picture before children as if we can never fail and we are the best ones and we were always so virtuous. No, I've made mistakes in my life, and I think I'm thankful to mistakes which have taught me the most. So I think these kind of practices the schools can do. Also, making the children understand that it's not competition, but yes, it's about competence. Make yourself competent. Compete with yourself. There is one practice in my school which we call it as Kaizen Awards. Here, those students who have shown improvement, constant and gradual, they are felicitated. So we hear of toppers being felicitated. I have nothing against it. It's really a matter of pride to see that children put their best in academics also and perform so well. But at the same time, we cannot ignore others who were not good at something, but they did not give up and they pushed themselves. And somebody needs to acknowledge that, because this is when they understand that it's not about coming on the top. It's about pushing yourself. It's about moving forward every day. So we have a Kaizen Award ceremony, and we identify children. The teachers identify children. This is the great job my teachers are doing. We identify those children who are showing progress day by day, little by little, and those children are celebrated. So I hope my children are growing with this idea that life is all about becoming better than what you were yesterday. But it is a competition only with yourself. And even if you are not able to move ahead further today, it's okay. So, being mindful of what are your abilities, not trying to do things which you are not able to manage, which is not under your control, is also very important. If suppose I start comparing myself to a great singer and keep sulking that I will never be able to become like her, so I think it's better to know that I am good as a teacher. I probably am good as a school administrator, but I may not be into singing. So it's okay. Being self-aware is important. And the last thing which we are doing to inculcate in our children is the last thing that I would like you to know is a practice called Alpa Viram, which is a practice for mindfulness. Every day, 3 minutes, our students and all of us remain silent. It falls during the third period every day from 10:30 to 10:33. We expect that everyone is thinking of the actions. They are critically questioning themselves whether I have been good, have I done good, is there anything that is troubling me, is there anything that I need to correct. So these kind of active silence gives you so many answers from within. Your inner voice speaks up, and that's when you become so self-aware, which is the most important quality of a leader. You have to know yourself, your nature, and that's when you become authentic. That's when you can speak your heart, and that's when people would not just listen to you or follow your orders because you're the head or the leader, but because you touch their hearts. It has to be from your heart to touch your team's heart, and for that you need to know yourself, and that comes from meaningful silences, going within. And yes, we are not going out. This is the best time to go within during the times of Corona. So I think these were some of the practices that we are following, and this is my advice, if you call it.
Yeah, ma'am, somebody has mentioned in the chat box, they follow the policy of Zero to Hero campaign, which I think if we see within ourselves, most of us are following this Zero to Hero campaign. Somewhere down the line, each one of us had some failure in our life, and which makes us to learn more and more.
I
So-
would just like to say,
Yeah.
Rachna ji, in my opinion, nobody is ever zero. No child is ever zero. Maybe we were zero in identifying the child's potential at that time when we called him zero. The child was not zero. We were zero in identifying his potential.
Yes, very true, ma'am. So what I could just sum up is leadership is a commitment. Commitment is the glue that bonds you to your goals. Now leaders bring the common people for uncommon results for the benefit and rapid growth of the society in general. Now, ma'am, we all are humbled by your sharing your qualities of a true stalwart of integrity, accountability, empathy, to name just a few. If I just keep on adding, like I don't know what to say, you have guided us so beautifully. Thanks, ma'am, for taking out your valuable time and inspiring us with such a wonderful insight into your work and true leadership qualities. And I hope we all will follow this.
I'm
So signing
humbled
off.
and I'm grateful. Thank you, and I need your
Signing off.
blessings and wishes. They are wonderful educators sitting here. I can see some of my friends. I can see Mr. Alpesh Kothari right on my screen on the top, and he has been to my school. He has been a judge to one of our inter-school competitions. A great friend, and I can see so many of my great friends here, my colleagues. So it's a pleasure to speak to you, and I look forward to hearing back from you.
So, ma'am, signing off for today. Stay home, stay safe, stay home, and be tuned for our next Rapid Talks with Rashna. Till then, namaste.
All the
I
best.
would like
Namaste.
each one of
Thank
you to say namaste, a goodbye from Fun to Learn and from Jaya ma'am to each one of you. Stay tuned with our next speaker guest.
Thank you.
Till then, signing off. Thank you.
Thank you. Take
Thank you,
care.
ma'am.
Stay
Thank you.
safe. Bye bye. All the best.
Bye bye.